From the PEP Radio Newsroom, these are the stories we are following at this hour. Channel 11, WPXI in Pittsburgh, is reporting that in September, a man from the North Side of Pittsburgh was attacked by his neighbors after calling him homophobic slurs. They hit him with a brick. Those neighbors were arrested and charged with aggravated assault, which is a felony. The victim wanted to see them charged with a hate crime. Unfortunately, the district attorney's office could not because the state statute doesn't protect sexual orientation. The ethnic intimidation statute covers threats and intimidation toward the race, color, religion, or national origin of another. Sexual orientation is not included and would require the PA legislature to amend the statute. Michael Albertini, whose neighbors beat him with a brick, reportedly said, "She starts throwing punches, then he starts throwing punches, and the next thing I remember is laying face down in the gravel." Albertini shared pictures with Channel 11 News immediately following the attack, and the photos show his arms and legs bruised and neck in a brace. Injuries, police said, happened when Albertini was attacked by his neighbors, Lisa and Patrick Miller. State Representative Dan Frankel, who represents Allegheny County, said it's pretty incredible that we aren't providing those protections against hate crimes. Currently, Pennsylvania is one of only 15 states that doesn't already protect sexual orientation and members of the LGBTQ+ community. Frankel is the prime sponsor of House Bill 1027, which would expand the state's ethnic intimidation statute to protect sex, gender, gender identity, gender expression, sexual orientation, age, and disability. It passed the state House in 2023, but is still waiting for the state Senate to bring the bill to a vote. Republicans and Democrats sent over a bill to the Senate that would close this loophole, and we need our Senate colleagues to bring it up for a vote, Frankel explained. The Senate has just 2 weeks left in session to bring the bill up for a vote. The Pennsylvania Equality Project has a petition link on their action page on its website to encourage lawmakers to pass House Bill 1027 before the current term ends. In other news, the last time the eye of a major storm like Hurricane Milton struck Tampa Bay in 1921, the city was a sleepy backwater of a few 100,000 people. A century later, it's among the fastest growing metropolises in the United States, with more than 3 million people and highly vulnerable to flooding due to climate change. As Milton barrels toward the Gulf Coast of Florida, it strengthened into a Category 5 storm on Monday. It has since reduced down to a Category 4 storm, but set that aside for the moment. Experts are worried that a century of luck could suddenly come to an end. The National Weather Service has issued hurricane warnings, flash flood warnings, and other watches for most of Florida. Storm surge from Hurricane Milton in the Tampa-St. Petersburg area could be between 8 and 12 feet. At last check, Milton had sustained winds of 180 miles per hour. That's come down a little bit since last night. Mandatory evacuation orders have gone into effect for Hillsborough and Pinellas counties, among other Florida counties. Governor Ron DeSantis has suspended tolls on the Florida Turnpike for motorists to leave Florida and seek shelter as quickly as possible. A Pennsylvania school district committee has recommended the retirement of the district's sex-based distinctions in athletics policy, prohibiting students from competing on opposite-sex sports teams, as reported by the Bucks County Courier-Times. Central Bucks School District Policy Committee's recommendation now moves to the full board of directors for a final decision. The next school board meeting is October 8th. At its meeting in December 2023, the current school board suspended the policy, which had been approved just weeks earlier by the outgoing board. The board's majority had changed from Republican to Democratic. According to Jess Rohan of the Courier-Times, several current school board members ran on overturning policies they viewed as discriminatory toward queer students. The board's president, Karen Smith, received a National Education Association award in July as an advocate for LGBTQ youths. The sports participation decision, as well as other decisions made during the December meeting, are now the subject of a lawsuit alleging that the board violated the Sunshine Act by adding agenda items after the legal deadline. At last Wednesday's meeting, Superintendent Stephen Yanni voiced concern that it could be legally problematic to keep the policy suspended without formally retiring it. According to Rohan, adding some board members questioned if the policy is legal at all. The policy also left the school recognized gender of students up to their parents. Parents had the option to notify the district if a student's gender identity differed from their assigned sex. If an athletic director or superintendent questioned a child's sex or gender, the policy directed them to refer to information the parent provided at registration, per Rohan's reporting. That's a quick check of the news for now. Let's get back to more music here on Pep Radio.